Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, December 22nd, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. This week on Norwood News, Norwood High receives a grant. The Kle Middle School holds a topping off ceremony. But first, the Norwood DPW, Norwood Police and Fire, and Norwood Light were superheroes this past week as they tirelessly kept up efforts to keep the power on and the streets clear. NCM went down to the police station to talk with Deputy Chief Chris Padden about what the Norwood Police did.
The day of the storm, I don't think anybody was really expecting it to be what it was. I went out to grab something out of my car and the door almost blew off. I was blown away, at, no pun intended, at how bad the wind was. And we fortunately were able to staff up. We had, I think at one point, 15 officers on the street just trying to deal with road closures and traffic. Of course, we lost the light at Dean and Route 1 again. Every time there's a bad storm, there's a problem down there that they can't seem to track down and fix. But you know, that's a very dangerous intersection, and we lost that light. And of course, we're trying to barrel off the intersection to keep people from trying to take lefts or turn so that everybody would just go straight. And we were fortunate that we were able to get that done quickly and efficiently with nobody getting hurt. We were very fortunate that we had enough people working that day. We were able to surge our officers. We had some officers that had been working details, that their details got canceled and they came into the station, and as soon as it started to get really bad, we asked them, hey, do you want to work? So we had, like I said, 14 or 15 cars on the road that day, which our normal would have been 6 or 7. So we were able to double our staff. We pulled our administrative officers that are generally in the building off their duties and put them in cars and sent them out to answer calls. And you know, just through teamwork, we were able to surge our police presence and really answer the call when it came. Just call after call after call. Our guys were out on the road just in the rain. I don't think anybody was really ready for what that storm became. And I know Norwood, thank God we have the light department and the DPW department. The town services here in Norwood are by far the best around. Norwood's up and running, and we were up and running right away. So from the perspective of the police department, that's the best thing in the world. So instead of having multiple day, this become a multiple day event where people are without power or heat, or we have to go to check on elderly people, or you know, people's basements are flooding because their sump pump won't work because they have no power. Norwood gets it right back up and running, and you know, like I said, once again, that's an attestation to the DPW, the light department, fire department did a great job. They were out there with us on all these calls with wires down. So it wasn't just the police department, it was the entire you know, public service sector here in Norwood. They all just top notch.
Director of Public Works, Mark Ryan, discussed what the DPW faced during the storm and how well the crews handled everything.
Hi everyone, Mark Ryan here, Director of Public Works. Just to give you an update on the storm we had here on December 18th. As you all experienced throughout the Northeast and in Norwood in particular, we had quite a rainy day and a very, very windy day. Norwood received a little over 3 inches of rain through a period of time, which is not excessive for the amount of hours that it went through, but we did have quite a bit of wind, as we all know that. We had sustained winds from 30, 35 miles per hour, but the biggest culprit around town in the Northeast is the wind gusts. Norwood experienced some severe wind gusts from 8 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Gusts reached up to 66 miles an hour in Norwood, so that caused quite a bit of havoc with trees coming down. DPW crews were right on it, starting at 6 a.m. with our overnight guy tending to some issues, and then crews come in at 7, and they worked right through the day, right up to about 6 p.m., handling fallen trees, minor flooding, and other debris that was in the road, opening up the roads, getting them passable for people to go about their day, and the evening commute when they were coming home. Fortunately, during the day, most people were smart enough to stay home get out of the elements and not be driving around. So we had a lot of trees down, nothing too major that DPW couldn't handle. Light department had a few large ones that fell on wires, and they did their typical outstanding job getting those trees removed and getting the power restored, and we're just so fortunate to have Norwood Light Department here. As far as flooding, a little roadway flooding here and there, mainly caused by not so much the amount of rain, but a lot of the debris that was windswept led to catch basins being covered, and then the water couldn't get into the catch basin. So DPW crews were running around, opening up those catch basins, making sure those roads were passable for vehicles. After the storm, the following day and today, DPW was out clearing debris that's on the side of the road, chipping up any branches that are laying around. We have 3 street sweepers out there right now. 1 is the town's and 2 from a local contractor sweeping all the debris on the 110 miles of road throughout the town. So we're getting that all cleaned up for the upcoming holiday weekend. If you have brush in your yard, we ask you to cut it up, put it out curbside. Remember, no longer than 4-foot lengths. We'd like you to tie them up and then call DPW at 781-762-1413, and we'll come by and pick up that brush and bring it up the landfill. And obviously the landfill is open this Saturday from 8 to 1:30, so you can bring your brush up there as well as the leaves and all the other items up there. One of the other things that was going on is trash carts were being blown all over the place. So a couple things. If you're missing a trash cart, we first ask that you check in with your neighbors. Maybe they picked it up. And if that is not the case, reach out to DPW and we'll do a broader search around the neighborhood looking for that trash cart to try to get it returned to you. And if you're someone that had a trash cart blown in front of your yard from who knows where, call DPW. Once again, 781-762-1413. We'll come by and pick it up, and I'm sure we'll get a call from whoever is missing that trash cart. So overall, I think Norwood did great. Between the police, fire, DPW, light department, and facilities, Norwood's back up and running right away. So we're fortunate there. And just wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and enjoy this great winter weather that we're having.
As the construction of the new Kle Middle School continues, students, faculty, and town members all gathered within the last few weeks to sign the last beam before the topping off ceremony.
So over the past 3 days, we have had every student and CMS come and sign the beam. 6th grade signed kind of underneath here. The 8th graders got the choice spot way underneath, and 7th grade did on top. Additionally, we had 10 to 12 6th graders who wrote essays. They got to sign on the front of the beam along with my 3 school council members who also signed today as well. This is the topping off beam, which will be the very last beam that is put into the building. Everyone gets to leave a little piece of themselves, kind of a nice transference, if you were, of community from one building to the other. My 7th and 8th graders won't get to learn in the new building. I'm sure they'll get to go into the new building, but they won't be a part of the new building. The 6th graders will be the first set of 8th graders. So it's kind of nice to have a little piece of everybody inside of the new building.
Coming up on Norwood News, Norwood comes together for the annual Wreaths Across America event. Norwood High receives a grant, and Ron Marshalsea has the latest in sports.
Norwood Community Media has its own video-on-demand channels. You can go to our website, norwoodcommunitymedia.org, and click on whichever on-demand channel you are looking for, whether it be things to do in the community, events at the schools, or town government meetings. Once you click on one, you are going to be taken to a screen in which you can search for stories or videos you missed on TV or just want to watch again. Just click on the search bar on top of the page and start typing. Once you've found what you're looking for, just click in the middle of the video where the play button is and you are off enjoying one of the 3 on-demand channels NCM has to offer.
Last weekend, Wreaths Across America was held at Highland Cemetery. Volunteers and families joined the event to honor veterans throughout the United States.
So today we celebrate Wreaths Across America, across the entire United States and the islands. It is a generous donation-only event where people volunteer their time. They donate their well-earned money to honor, remember, and teach the next generation about veterans by coming out in all the different cemeteries across the United States. In this one, obviously, Highland Cemetery is powerful for me because I grew up in Norwood, lived in Norwood, owned a business in Norwood, so this is a pretty impactful moment for me to be able to give back to the community. We had Dennis Mon, who is a Norwood firefighter. He stood in for Teddy Mulvihill for the Department of Veteran Services in the town of Norwood, who couldn't make it today. He's sick. 22 Mohawks here, so Dave Camposano and Stacy Coyne, who prevent veteran suicide, and they also connect veterans with service dogs to help get through hard days, and they also pay 100% of the training for the puppies, and they also are getting the dogs from kill shelters so that they're saving a vet and a dog at the same time, so they save 2 lives in one. We also had George Curtis, who represented the Norwood Historical Society, who documents all the stories and the lives of the Norwood residents and the history behind everything here. And then we also had Zach Scott, whose grandfather is a veteran, who doesn't like to speak. He comes and he is in the background, and he is very proud of his grandson. But his grandson has spoken with us for 5 years now, so we watched him grow up right in front of us here. Again, it's 100% donation. All the wreaths, you go to the website, wreathsacrossamerica.com. You donate it to either a cemetery specific, or you can just donate to the Wreaths Across America, and they distribute evenly. And then you can volunteer your time and come out, hear our stories, hear why we're here, hear some history along with it. And then we remember the fallen veterans who sacrificed their lives. We say their names out loud so that they're never forgotten. And then we place a wreath on the veterans' grave site so that they're remembered during the Christmas time. I actually accidentally fell into this. The senior vice president of Ecolab asked us to participate more in the community, to give back if we wanted to. I chose the military operations because of my background coming from Title I work with veterans. I wanted to continue with that in my new role at Ecolab. And I found it important to be in my own community instead of traveling outside of the community. What I didn't realize is when asking for it to be hosted here that would now be forever my role. I thought Wreaths Across America came out and did it. But I learned quickly that would be my new role, and what big shoes to fill. The town always backs me. I get a call from Mark Ryan every single year from the DPW asking me when we can get together so we can start planning. The vet rep comes out, he sits down with us, we map it out with the cemetery foreman. How are we going to do it? How do we get these wreaths donated? How do we get the big wreaths for the old parish and for Highland and the center of town? And then we get all the speakers lined up. That's part of my role, is to make sure that we have speakers that are meaningful and powerful, that will talk to the theme of the year that is offered by Wreaths Across America. And I find it really powerful to give back to your own community as well as other communities. They're, like I said, across the United States. But I want to give back to my community because I'm here because of the sacrifices made for us to live free. We have choices. We can vote. We can be out in the community. And one of the first years that I was here, I had Rhonda Bayless as a speaker. I spoke on her behalf. She was one of the first females that was in the front line in Desert Storm, and also one of my sorority sisters. And she she was telling a story of how she was stationed overseas and couldn't sit in the front of the house of a restaurant, couldn't be seen. You had to be driven. You couldn't drive as a female. Very powerful, impactful story to me of this is why she did what she did, is to make sure that the next generation could sit in the front of the restaurant, could not have coverings hiding themselves, could vote, could drive, could hold jobs. So to give back for all those sacrifices that give me the freedoms that I have today.
One of the most exciting parts of construction is when they're able to put the last piece of steel on the structure. On Wednesday, the community gathered to witness the topping off at the Kle Middle School.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to introduce Jim from MSBA. He's going to say a few words real quick.
Good morning. On behalf of Treasurer Goldberg, the chair of MSBA board, Mary Bacchetti, the executive director, Maria and Carolyn from the MSBA, congratulations on this milestone. You know, the topping off is a ceremony that celebrates the workers, you know, especially the members of Local 7, the steel workers, who are putting up this amazing structure. And if you look at the American flag and the evergreen, that's part of the tradition. The tradition is, back in the Scandinavian days, to appease the gods, because they had taken wood from the trees in order to build their structures. And this tradition has passed on and on and on. And today you see not only the flag of the United States, but of the evergreen. And little bonus today, it's the holiday season. There's no ornaments on, but we all get that. And I just want also to recognize members of the legislative delegation from Norwood, Senator Rush and Representative Rogers, who were an integral part of helping getting the funding for this structure. So thank you for attending the topping off today. And you know, it also, to the Norwood School Building Committee, you know, the amount of work that goes into a project, once it starts, it just never ends. And of course, the terrific team that they selected, you know, Compass Project, AI3, and of course, W.T. Rich, the general contractor. So on behalf of MSBA, congratulations. We look forward to watching the beam go up. And I just want to give also just a little special recognition to somebody that I have known for a long time, very popular in the town of Norwood. And I've been involved with him in all sorts of challenger sports over the years. So Brian Richardson, Brian, raise your hand and say hello to everyone. Let's give a round of applause for Brian. With that, I'll turn it back to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bethany King. I'm the senior PM with W.T. Rich and have been tasked with saying a few words. So they are right here. On behalf of the W.T. Rich team, I would like to welcome you all here today for the topping off ceremony of the Kle Middle School. First and most importantly, I would like to acknowledge the incredible structural steel team of stellar erectors in Norgate. Their partnership on this project has been the most efficient, safe, and collaborative that I've witnessed. The Stellar's crew's dedication week in and week out for the past 2 months has been extraordinary, and they have made their work look easy. Mark, Rylan, and team, we cannot thank you enough. I also want to acknowledge the design team, specifically AI3, who envisioned this building, and the engineers, EDG, who turned those visions into reality. Your attention to detail and the quality of your work significantly contributed to the smooth execution on our end. To the community of Norwood, thank you for entrusting us with this building and for allowing us to be part of your team. Paul, Alan, the building committee, the fire and police departments, and Gary and your inspectional services group. You have all put your time and effort into this project and contributed to getting the building to this point. And to the Vertex team, your involvement at every stage of the project has allowed for a seamless and harmonious process for all involved. Apparently I should have separated these first. To Brian, thank you for consistently checking in on us and keeping us on our toes, and happy birthday. To Dave, Margot, teachers and students, thank you for your flexibility and adaptability since we've arrived on site. Your understanding and willingness to participate in this project's success does not go unnoticed, especially the 6th grade students who used their math class this week to double check our steel productivity rates. Our team really enjoyed getting in the classroom and watching you learn. And last but not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our W2 Rich team. This is a huge milestone that we should all be proud of. To everyone here today, the fact that we stand here ahead of schedule, or as Doug Thomas says, trending in a positive direction, is a reflection on the exceptional synergy within our team. As we look around at the structure that stands before us, we are reminded that great things can be achieved when talented individuals come together with a shared vision and a commitment to excellence. Congratulations to each and every one of you. May this holiday season be filled with joy, warmth, and the satisfaction of a job well done. And with that, Mark, team, we're ready for you, wherever you went.
Now let's toss it over to Abby Trahan for the latest in school news.
I'm Abby Trahan, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. In Norwood High School news, recently, the Multilingual Accelerated Program students responded to a situation where an NHS family lost their apartment due to a fire. Here is teacher Joey O'Connor.
As many people probably know, on Thanksgiving Day, there was a fire in South Norwood, and an NHS family lost their entire apartment to a fire. They were occupying 2 floors, and they had many of their family members in this apartment, and the next day they had nothing left. So some of my students were particularly close with this family, and they wanted to come up with a way to kind of cheer them up for the holidays and try to help them out a little bit. They knew that the GoFundMe that was raised by the community had a lot of money in there, so money wasn't our direct objective. After connecting with the family a little bit and seeing what they needed, my students decided that the best idea would be to get a clothing drive going. So my students worked really hard over the past few weeks on organizing posters, finding boxes, finding supplies, and they got a bunch of clothing donations up in my room, up in 335. After that, the process was deciding what should go to the family, what was nice, what would be the right size, what would fit. So not only did they organize to make posters and to get the idea out there, Then the students actually worked together, kind of like an assembly line a little bit, unpacked all of the clothes that we got, which was an insane amount. So shout out to the community. That was awesome. And then these students worked together to fold clothes together, organize them by men's clothes, women's clothes, sizes, shoes, bags, purses, whatever it was. And after a lot of their hard work, they had 25 plus boxes, bags full of clothes. Along with that, we also had hundreds of dollars in cash and gift card donations. So after about 2 or 3 weeks, really long project for these guys. Again, they worked really hard. We were able to drop off the donations to this family in their new apartment. So fortunately, they were able to move up the street into a new spot. And we took a little field trip there the other day after my students got out early. And we dropped off all 25 plus boxes, bags, and a giant envelope with a nice little letter in there that my students typed up, along with the hundreds of dollars and hundreds of dollars in gift cards. So we dropped it off directly to the family, brought it all the way up to the 3rd floor, and it worked out well enough that we even were able to place the donations under the Christmas tree of the family. So it was a really awesome experience. I know my students got a lot out of it in terms of academics, community service, language, whatever it was. But I think the best part was seeing how proud they were of themselves, and they didn't ask for any recognition the entire time. They were just doing it because it was the right thing to do.
At the Kle Middle School, after last week's exciting beam signing, grade 6 teachers were able to turn the construction on the real CMS into a problem for the math classroom. Madison Meany, grade 6 math, had asked for some data about the number of steel beams to have students figure out the rate of speed of the rising of the steel structure. Little did she know that W.T. Rich, the Kle construction company, does this weekly in real life. W.T. Rich not only supplied the requested data, but sent over a real email from one of their workers showing how every week they had to determine the steel productivity rate. The students were able to ask that worker, Mike, to join their grade 6 math classes this week for an impromptu lesson. The Balch Elementary School students and staff attended the Nutcracker at Norwood Theater. The students were first introduced to Claire and her incredible dream during music class with Miss La Riviere. Students learned that the Nutcracker was a ballet and not a movie or a play, and that all the meaning would be communicated through song and dance. Students were reminded of proper theater etiquette as well. The Balch School students were mesmerized from start to finish with this engaging and beautiful performance. The Balch staff could not be prouder of how well behaved and engaged the students were throughout the ballet. Thank you to Balch PTO Enrichment Coordinator Lauren Davila for planning this wonderful event. The Balch also held its annual PTO Pancake Breakfast with Santa. The PTO was pleased to have so many parent volunteers who made the event not only special, but smooth and stress-free as well. The cafeteria was decorated with buffalo plaid tablecloths, flowers, and a fireplace as a backdrop for pictures with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Speaking of the famous couple, they arrived at an adoring and exciting crowd by fire truck. Thank you, Fighter Ronco. It was a very busy morning with pancakes, sausage, coffee, and hot chocolate. There were crafts to be made, raffles to bid on, and bracelets for sale, with proceeds going towards 5th grade activities. All in all, it was a fun and festive morning. In Callahan School news, special thank you to the Callahan PTA for hosting the holiday shop. Students purchased special and inexpensive items for their families and loved ones. It was a festive and musical week over at the Prescott School. The Student Council and Sunshine Committee kicked off the week by surprising staff and students with door-to-door caroling. Members of the Student Council sang jingle bells in each classroom to help spread holiday cheer. Then they had the annual winter concert by the band and orchestra. Many thanks to Miss Lorance and Miss Bedard for their hard work coordinating a wonderful concert. Lastly, the Celtic Strings and Magicals from Norwood High School stopped by to showcase their beautiful music and singing for all the students. Mr. Riley, a former NHS Magical himself, even joined the Magicals for a special song. As Buddy the Elf says, the best way to spread holiday cheer is singing loud for all to hear. Little Mustangs and the Senior Center over at the Savage teamed up for some holiday fun this year. On Monday, the preschoolers walked over to the Senior Center and each child donated a can of soup. Students then formed a circle and sang holiday songs for the seniors. The smiles from young to old were brighter than Rudolph's nose. The seniors then returned the favor by coming down to the preschool in holiday costumes on Wednesday to perform their favorite holiday songs. Students couldn't believe the celebrity appearances made by Santa, Frosty the Snowman, and my favorite, the Grinch. Well, that's it for school news. The students are always learning, and thanks to all the educators who share their school news with us. Happy holidays, and don't forget to tune into the elementary holiday concerts right here on NCM. And now let's go to Ron Marshalsea with the latest in sports.
I'm Ron Marshalsea, and this is your sports update. The girls' basketball team took on Hopkinton last Friday and won 37-13, with Ari Blake leading the team in rebounds. The Mustangs went to Ashland on Tuesday, and Lauren Reen, Bella Chorus, and Alexa Chorus were huge parts in leading Norwood to a 59-39 win over the Clockers. As of recording this sports update, they have not played at Walpole Thursday the 21st at 6:30, but we'll let you know what happened on the next sports update. The boys' basketball team traveled to Hopkinton last Friday, but didn't come back home with the win. The boys hosted Ashland Tuesday night and won 57-48. The Mustangs will be at Walpole Thursday the 21st as part of a doubleheader with the girls starting at 5 o'clock. The girls' hockey team is now 2-2 with back-to-back wins over Hopkinton and Dedham. The Mustangs beat Hopkinton 4-0 with Bernadette Tenor getting the shutout in net and goals scored by Ava Hines and Emily Spadorsha. Spadorsha notched the first hat trick of the season for the Mustangs in this one. The girls also made the trip to Dedham on Wednesday and won 2-1. Sophie Cruz and Michaela Reen scored the 2 goals for Norwood. Their next game is part of a big doubleheader with the boys hockey team, home against Walpole next Wednesday the 27th, starting at 6 o'clock. The boys hockey team didn't let up against Holliston on Wednesday night, winning 7-1. Goals were spread out in this one and scored by Andrew Gillis, Sam Lally, Mark Trahan, Nick Berardinelli, Max Conley, and Ryan Valeri scored twice. The boys' game, part of the doubleheader next week against Walpole, is at home starting at 4 o'clock. Both the girls and boys track teams went up against Hopkinton last Wednesday but could not get the wins. They will be hosting Ashland on the 29th at the Reggie Lewis Center starting at 2:30. Both the boys and girls swim and dive teams went up against Dover Sherborne on Sunday but did not get wins. The team was going to go up against Norwell for the Nor Cup this past Tuesday, but had to be postponed. Their next scheduled meet is against Norton on January 5th at 5 o'clock at Blue Hills Pool. The wrestling team faced off against Dedham Wednesday night to retain the Gregory Police Trophy, and they came out with the big win, 42-30. They will be at Marshfield High School on Wednesday the 27th at 9 a.m., and then they have a tri-meet at Sharon High School on December 30th at 10 against Sharon and Quincy. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshalsea, and Norwood News will be right back after this break.
The school committee met this week via Google Meet and held 2 appearances. High school teacher Mr. Bueller returned to further discuss the France overnight field trip request.
I'm here to seek approval for the French trip, the French exchange. We have 2 options now. There's the option of going in the week before February break and the week after April break. I had also submitted a poll that I took from parents, and I don't know if you received the results of that, but it looks like only 10% were opting for the February time, and the majority, about 60%, were going for the April slots, with the rest being sort of undecided.
Joan, at the last meeting, we asked them to look at alternative dates because their initial proposal of end of April and into May was during the 4th term and right before AP week, which traditionally we don't approve trips during that time.
Well, I'm a little concerned with the February date, and weather concerns on either part of the Atlantic. I think that could have a storm before they go or while they're there or what have you. That's usually why we do it in the spring. So I do understand the concern, but weather-wise, the April date would probably be a better date to go. Of course, who knows? We could get no snow again. But that's just a concern I have with that date.
I mean, my concern is still those AP exams. I mean, it's mostly juniors and seniors who go on these trips, and that's also the student population that would be coming, back and within a week taking AP scores. And, if we prep them all year for those AP classes and then due to jet lag, they don't test well, it just feels counterintuitive to what we're asking them to do all school year. So my concerns still remain. I don't know what Joan thinks or David about the February date.
Motion to approve the original April dates for 2024.
I will second for the point for the, I will second for discussion. Okay, so all in favor of David's motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, so that motion carries 2-1. Thank you.
Joan, can I just go on the record, though? I'm not against the trip. I'm all for the trip.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the timing of the trip that you're objecting to.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Director of Student Services, Lori Semino, also attended the meeting and discussed the new IEP process, as well as providing updates on special education and transportation for student services.
So to summarize, we have a new IEP process that's being driven by the DESE audit that we anticipate. No, that's being
driven by DESE for everybody.
Okay, DESE. So this is statewide driven by DESE, resulting in a new IEP process, which will be rolling out in fall 2024, and will likely have a hit on our budget due to increased emphasis on assistive technology
and post-secondary transition.
Okay.
Yep.
So more to come. If that's a trailer and for you and you're very excited about it, please be looking for Ms. Semino's slides and communications via Parent Square, or get involved with CPAC, who Ms. Semino is already working with around this and messaging on this. Is that a fair summary?
Perfect.
Excellent. All right.
The next school committee meeting will be Wednesday, January 10th. Recently, Norwood High School received a $25,000 grant to support its Innovation Pathways program. NHS is only one of 31 schools to receive this funding from the state. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. David Thompson, explains the goal behind the program.
So this is another round of the state working on career connections, and the whole purpose of that is to give a purpose to the academic study that you're doing. So Norwood High has been at the forefront of that. This will be our third pathway that we are working on. We already have one for healthcare. The two that we are using the grant money to start to pilot is finance. And the business offerings in the high school have been, for the last 4 years, keep going up and up. Kids that are interested in doing that kind of study. So this would lead them to explore, careers either right after high school or after college in working in finance. It can be everything from being a CPA or a bookkeeper, to doing some advanced finance work later on. The other is green and renewable energy, and I believe that we are only one of 4 schools in the Commonwealth that are looking at that. But again, it's connecting the content that students are learning with real life experiences out in the community with partners to help kids find what they want to do when they leave high school.
Norwood High School Principal Dr. Hugh Galligan also adds that Innovation Pathways tightens the bond between middle school and high school.
What it really means is helping students find a stronger connection from what they're doing on the daily basis in school to what their potential career might be, right? So helping students find meaning in the work that they're doing, helping them feel passionate and connected to it, and helping them extend beyond that. It also really strengthens relationships between the middle and high school because we recruit 8th graders to step into those pathways right off the bat in 9th grade. The program itself, in any innovation career pathway, gives students obviously stronger connections and career opportunities. Every student takes 2 college courses while they're here in the high school, so leave with some college credit, 2 technical courses, multiple certifications, and they all participate in a 100-hour capstone or internship in their field.
It's great to see Norwood be supported for its efforts in innovation pathways. Norwood author and historian Patty Fanning and Jack Tolman are collaborating on short history videos that will be shared with Norwood school teachers. Fanning researches the script, and Tolman brings it to life by creating video. This week, we will feature a video that highlights John P. Oldham, the namesake of the Oldham School.
John Patrick Oldham was born in Dedham on May 21, 1859. South Dedham did not become Norwood until 1872. His parents, Richard Oldham and Abby Linehan Oldham, had been born in Ireland and came to South Dedham in the 1840s. They were among the founders of St. Catherine's Church. John Oldham lived in this town for his entire life. He married Sarah Edel and they had 9 children. He worked as a fireman for the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad for a time and then became a janitor for the Norwood School Department in 1900. Because of his good work and ability, he was promoted to a supervisory position. After 37 years of uninterrupted service, he retired as the supervisor of janitors, schoolhouses, and grounds in 1937. He was the first to hold that position. Over 100 attended a grand retirement party held for him in January of 1938. Oldham was a quiet, humble man, known about town for his generosity, enthusiastic spirit, and good deeds, which he completed quietly without drawing attention to himself. Although he did not have much formal education, he loved learning. One of his grandchildren recalled that Oldham went to the library every Saturday and took out 7 books. He would read them all, return to the library the following Saturday, and choose 7 more. He enjoyed reading all types of books, including fiction, nonfiction, classics, westerns, and mysteries. He died in 1946. The John P. Oldham School, built on what was called the Forbes area of town, land that had once been owned by W. Cameron Forbes, a wealthy diplomat. Forbes had built a huge mansion at the top of the hill. The Oldham School opened in September 1963 and dedicated with a ceremony held on March 1, 1964. One of John P. Oldham's grandchildren, Dr. Philip Oldham Coakley, became superintendent of schools in Norwood. The Philip O. Coakley Middle School is named in his honor.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to leave you with a list of upcoming events being covered by Norwood Community Media. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.